by Shaw is I think one of those pieces that it's is you need it's a central character who she is almost she's a monster in a way. Epiphania, the center, I won't even begin to try to say her surname. And that central character is a monster, but of course she's, as with all of Shaw's monsters, she's a glorious monster. She's a hurricane, she's a force of nature, and really essentially the men that she comes across kind of end up kind of circling around her like kind of slightly discombobulated satellites, until someone comes along and actually kind of manages to turn her on her head. So it's a great battle of the sexes. And I like the fact that it seems unevenly pitched, and then of course it actually isn't at all. And as always with Shaw, of course, we get all sorts of, I mean, this is a very rich young woman. So again, issues of money, the issues of class come up. And I really wanted to give this to company member Blair Williams. Blair is a wonderful Shaw actor, of course, and has done many Shaw plays. And now, since starting with directing The President for us, and then the Coward One acts, and indeed now directing all over the place, has shown that he has a comedic director, and not just rah-rah comedy, but real sense of comedy, also being able to really use language, that I thought he would be a perfect director for this. And also, I thought that Nicole Underhay would be just so delightful, because, I mean, a less monstrous person you can possibly think of. On the other hand, the notion of watching her become that, I thought would be delicious, and Blair and Nicole have a great chemistry. So in that sense, that was where I started to build that piece, and of course it's populated, of course, with all sorts of wonderful Shaw actors in it. Our archaeological programming is very popular here, and something I'm hugely proud of and always excited by. There's nothing better than putting on a play that really has been forgotten, and it may have been performed in the turn of the century, it may be performed in the 20s, whatever. But it is now being brought back to life after many, many, many years, and in many cases, and in most cases I would say, you begin to see that there is such life left in these pieces. They end up often in the courthouse as kind of our sleeper hits, you know. Mm-hmm. And Gita Sowerby, I think, was a great surprise to all of us when we did Rutherford and Son, a very dark story, it's a family drama set in the north of England. Then a few years later we did The Stepmother, and by Gita, and now this is another play that we have unearthed. I mean, we literally, The Stepmother, what we found in a box in the basement of Samuel French. You know, these are plays that were just literally left. And it's very moving. You look and you get a script, and in the original typescript with all of Edith's little notes in the margins, and to suddenly say, we're going to bring this to life again, long, long, long after these notes were written, is very moving. And so again, we're doing the same with A Man and Some Women. And this one has a different point of view. It's about a man who is really living with two sisters, a wife and a cousin, a female cousin, and he essentially has to support them financially. And it's about things, but it's about being trapped by family obligations. It's about, and from the woman's point of view, being disenfranchised or not having a way to support themselves. And again, though, really, what is fascinating about her, she talks about really money and marriage. And when we put these plays up, and already we're in previews of A Man and Some Women, it gets to people. And people, we literally get people going, oh, oh, ooh, oh. Like, it's just these big vocal reactions from people. And in fact, sometimes, I mean, I've always joked that the less pleasant people in the play, so to speak, almost we have to get a Witness Protection Act out of the actors, because people start getting really mad at them. I had a man beside me at the first preview of A Man and Some Women, and Graham Somerville, wonderful actor, sort of his final line was, "You're not women, you're tyrants," and this man went, "Yeah." Okay, all right. So, you know, it's interesting, and I guess, well, yeah, I don't know, money, marriage, I guess it's all pretty relevant stuff, shall we say. But I'm always thrilled because I really do feel that her stuff comes so to life on the stage, and that audiences have such a great time, you know, watching these stories. I love Henrik Ibsen, and I think that it's very important that this crotchety kind of at times almost terrifying personality that he was, who wrote plays that were so, they tore the lid off civilization and in a way that terrified people at the turn of the 19th, 20th century. I mean, his plays were called by the critics, you know, sort of raw sewers, that his, you know, it's, I mean, if ever I think I get bad reviews, I like to go back to Ibsen and go, well, I guess I haven't done a raw sewer yet, so it's not so. But he really did. He terrified people because really what he was doing was revealing the kind of conventions and pieties and falsehoods that especially the middle class were living under, and the kind of lies that people had to take on in their lives. Now, there's certain A Doll's House, I mean, some of his plays are very well known. A Doll's House is one famous one where the heroine, it slams the door and leaves her life at the end. Shaw himself thought that door slamming was one of the most significant moments in the beginning of modern theatre. A wonderful play, we've done Rosmer's Home, which of course was a much less known play that we have done, and often my instinct would be to go to the lesser known ones, because we're one of the few companies who can really do these pieces and really explore them. But in this case, I thought to myself, again, looking at who we have around us in the acting company, and I was thinking, in fact, when I was watching our production of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof last year, an extraordinary production, and there was Moy O'Connell as the cat. There was Jimmy Mizon as Big Daddy. There was Gray Powell as extraordinary performances, and I was sitting and I thought, wow, there's the cast of Hedda Gabler. I thought, and Patrick McManus, and I thought, you really, and I sort of laughed, and then I went, oh, that's the cast of Hedda Gabler. What am I thinking about? So, in fact, once again, of course, it's a fabulous play, but the notion that we had these actors that I wanted to throw together again in such a different world and in such a different way. And so I was thrilled because, of course, I was thinking, you know, who should direct it, and I went to Stratford to see Richard III last year, and went backstage to say hello to many of the actors in it, including Martha Henry. And I suddenly went, oh, Martha Henry, of course, it's obvious. And I was thrilled when I asked her, and I don't know that she missed a beat really, the notion of directing that play. And of course she'd been in it, albeit quite a while ago, but she knows the play so well and brings such knowledge of these classics with her. So I'm just thrilled that Martha Henry is going to be back with us this year to direct that piece, and I think we'll guide it beautifully. Lunchtime is always interesting to me. I always sort of leave it to the last, because I'm always trying to balance, like, okay, what do we need in the lunch? What hors d'oeuvre are we going to have here in our lunchtime? Is it going to be a comedy to get people going with the president? Is it going to be something maybe more of a drama, like the old lady shows her medals? You know, there's always, you try to sort of think about that. And I realized too that we of course have this fantastic musical company at the moment that we've really been building over the years, and I thought, well, maybe, you know, maybe I should look at something musical. And then I realized that, of course, a couple of years ago, that when we do our reading series, and we did a musical reading of Bernstein's Trouble in Tahiti, and I thought that was kind of fascinating. And so I looked at it again and thought about it. And then it was our company member, Jay Turvey, who directed it. And I thought, you know, he did a fantastic job in that reading, and he really understands the material very well. He's a brilliant singer himself and a musician. And so I thought, let's do that. And so that was really the bringing in the Trouble in Tahiti, which gave a nice balance. Again, a musical, very different, of course, in many ways, in every way, from Ragtime. Also musically very complex, so it really shows our singers at their absolute best.